Scorpio sexuality. Well, just saying Scorpio is enough to give a lot of ideas to many people, because Scorpio is the sign in astrology which is most connected to deep, intense sexuality. So sex for those people is not just getting off with someone, is not just some physical need, it's a matter of psychological penetration, of deep merging with another. It's more of an occult, almost spiritual experiences, deep tantric experience from the sex for Scorpio, rather than, something that it can be much more physical, sensual, like for instance for Taurus people. And Scorpio, when they want to, want to possess you, to have you fully, to have your soul, put a spell on you. When you have sex with them, they might be about watching in the eyes and intensity and being very slow. Scorpio is a very controlled sign. It's a fixed sign, and it can take a long time to make love to you, from the bottom to the top, back again. It can go for long, powerful, long games, long type of games of domination and submission, because Scorpio is the sign of power, of control and power. So such people might even love to play some games with you, with your mind, psychological games that will really turn them on. And such people are very private, because Scorpio is extremely secretive sign. So if you see a man who has Venus in Scorpio, being too loud, being too, trashy, talking about, your sexual endeavors with other men, telling him secrets from your past relationships, he might not appreciate that. So be more private about your previous relationship, be more private about your relationship with this guy. They would like to have sex in secret, and it's a very private affair for them. And sometimes this desire for secrecy can really excite them when they're cheating, for instance, or when they're going behind the back, or when they're doing some taboo relationship, sexual relationship with something which is forbidden. For instance, well, I'm not going to give you instances, I don't want to get vulgar here, but especially when there is power inequality there, say for instance teacher-student relationship, or always where someone is a bit more on top, or a bit more controlling of the other. This is very Scorpionic type of sexual relationships they go for. And it's not always, if you see someone is Scorpio, it doesn't mean that they'll be cheaters and they'll be so, twisted. Not at all, but they'll need this privacy with their relationships, and they can be extremely loyal. The cheating can happen only because it turns them on for the secrecy. But actually, Scorpio is not a cheating sign at all. Scorpio can be very loyal because it's a fixed sign. As long as you give them a lot of depth, and as long as you give them constancy of sexual connection, they need constancy. They need to be constantly, in a relationship with someone who has Scorpio energy in them. You cannot stop for 5-6 months, then have intensely sex for 2-3 weeks, then start again. This can be a bit disconcerting for them. That's when they can start the sexual, hidden sexual relationships with more intensity. You need to be constantly keeping this intense connection of loyalty and privacy and mutualness and togetherness with a Scorpio. Then they will be loyal for many years, and they will not tire with you. And also you need to share with them a lot of your secrets. They need to feel like, especially they can get turned on, Scorpio or Scorpio, Venus and Mars, if you share with them something very private from your past, or if you divulge in front of them something and they feel like you're trusting them, and then this can be a great turn on for them. If they feel like the deepening of the connection and the bond on emotional levels are a great turn on for them. But Scorpio also is one of those signs where it can get quite dark when it comes to sex. As I said, it's about overpowering another person. This is in extreme cases. So some people with Scorpio influences, if you want to spice up the life of, if your partner that you have Scorpio, maybe you can have a sex dungeon, or go to such show where it's a bit more about domination and submission. Also bondage. I imagine Scorpio in leather a bit more, Scorpio is a bit this darkness of Scorpio that is there, something that is a little bit more, twisted, a bit dark, like handcuffs. They would enjoy all these kind of sexual games. Actually, they're up for almost anything. as long as they feel the emotional connection with you, as long as they feel you can be trusted, you know, they'll go far away with you in exploring their sexuality, because they can take you on the most tantric experience. And actually, Scorpio rules the Kundalini energy, which is the sexual energy. So Scorpios can reach almost tantric states and spiritual states through the sex, through intensity, through prolonging the orgasms. They can reach those states of multiple orgasms almost, that you sit and you're getting like minute after minute of waves of orgasm, you know, and that you go to different worlds almost in experience with that. And for them, it's almost something sacred, sex. For a lot of them, you know, especially when they're in love with the person. And don't be too, so to speak, too easy and too open when it comes to sex with them. Basically, they like a little bit of mystery. So maybe wearing a mask, maybe tying up the eyes, maybe, you know, being the femme fatale there is, and also maybe doing a slow striptease to them, that, or maybe always wearing a little bit of something that is not too, you know, that you're not open to everything, that it's like, also they like to make love in more darker places, more hidden and secretive, not in broad daylight in the forest, you know, or somewhere. It's like some other signs might like it, like Sagittarius, they wouldn't mind that. But Scorpio likes the privacy, likes the secrecy, likes the sacredness of this bonding sexually. They're very intense. They can be a volcano of simmering passions. So if you want to be with the Scorpio, you need to know they have very strong sexual appetites, and you need to be going there for a long. If you want to have a long-term relationship with them and keep them interested and in love with you, you have to give them regularly, more deeper and deeper. Actually, not only regularly, the sex has to be more and more bonding. If you have more Virgo, so for instance, if you have not more Virgo but more Gemini influence in your horoscope, and you like little bit of this, little bit of that, some kind of sexual stimulation for you is more mental, it's more about experimenting, then bonding with someone who is strongly Scorpionic might be interesting and unusual at first, but it might be too overpowering for you, or the Scorpio might soon just not be able to connect to the depth of a person, to connect to the soul of the person, because, you know, some signs are just more on the surface when it comes to sexuality, more about the stimulation, the images, the experimenting, the curiosity. Scorpio is about the real deep tantric energy there. Let's see. I think we said almost everything there. Scorpio is very much, Scorpio rules the sex organs in astrology as well. So you can see you don't need to be some complex sexual, you know, they don't need some overly complex sexual twisted things, you know. They can just paying a bit of more attention, focusing. Their oral love is something that Scorpio extremely enjoys, giving it or receiving it as well. Yes, I think that's for Scorpio, a very interesting, very secretive, very deep sign when it comes to sexuality. They can have the most powerful sexual experiences than any other signs. They can even get a bit obsessive, and they can have those longest sessions of love making than any other sign.